friends, I am Dr. Chandra Jagan Mohan. So, I have been telling you about the electrical power generations. See, we are having so many options. See, we are producing the power by utilizing so many resources. We are by utilizing so many resources, but the demand is increasing day by day. Because of the utility. Say the industrial growth is increasing day by day. The consumption, the dependency on the power in the household is increasing day by day. The dependency of the power in the commercial area is increasing day by day. So the world itself moving to the utilities where we cannot live without the electrical power. See, once even we were not having the street lights, so we were using the traditional methods of lighting things. See, there is a proverb that once today's luxuries are tomorrow's necessities. So that proverb is 100% correct. So once upon, the land phone is a luxury. Now the cell phone is a necessity. So there is so much traveling from the land phone to the cell phone. Okay. So similarly, once upon, having electricity is a luxury. For a house is a luxury. But it is a necessity, minimum of necessity. Even we are not having the clocks which are running mechanically today. So even for watching the time, we are depending on the electronics. So indirectly we are using the electricity. So if you come to the industrial sector, it is the basic need for the industry. Without electricity, the industry cannot run. So the demand is increasing day by day. So we have taken so many sources, so many options are coming day by day, new options are coming day by day, but every option is not suitable. It's not getting clicked. It's not becoming famous due to so many reasons. So as far as now we are having very limited economical sources which have become famous of electrical power. So when you come to the optional things, so we are depending on the fossil fuels. So even today we are depending on the fossil fuels. So we have to come out of this. This work has been started from 100 years or 150 years back to come out of this, but the results are coming only in the recent decades. See, we are having only two options, majorly, if you want to say. So that is conventional and non-conventional sources. So in the non-conventional sources, we are having mainly two pillars, so which are giving enough support for producing in the non-conventional method of producing or in the renewable sources of producing the power. We can relay. Mainly we can relay. We are able to relay. So that is the wind power and solar power. So wind power has started very early, before the solar power has started its journey. So the wind power, it is a earlier thing than the solar power. Among this, there is a comparison. So beyond these two type of power substitutions, we are having a tidal power. So where still there is a research is going on. So it has not to the extent now. As for today, we cannot depend on it. We cannot rely on it much on today. So our options are at present only in the renewable sources, that is wind power and solar power. Say, before we have to say, so everybody is promoting the solar power, everybody is promoting the wind power. See, these are the new things. These powers are the new powers. We don't know still, after the usage of decades, we have not totally aware of the side effects, the negatives of these powers, especially about the solar energy. So that's why, yes, it is a best source, but it is having, so we think that the people have exaggerated its impact on the environment for its promotion. So the recent researchers are finding that it's not much better than our traditional methods. So our today's topic is the dark side of the solar power. That is the impact, the environmental impact of the solar power. So that is the dark side of the solar power. Up to now, we have seen only the good side of the solar power. We have not seen the ugly side of the solar power. We have not seen the ugly side of the solar energy. So this energy, which we are thinking up to now, that's the best solution for the environmental problem, for the greenhouse problem, seems is not to that extent what we were been thinking, what we have assumed up to now. So why it is not so? So many people think why it is not so. So because it is a recently developed power. So we know that in the manufacturing of, in the process of making the power, so without turbines, it's a great step in the power generation. Till now, we were depending on some way or other way, the turbine is the must power. It is a great leap, leaving the turbine. So solar power has given that option. Yes, we can produce, we can generate power without the use of a turbine also. But we have to see, at the same time, we have to see the negatives of the solar power. Here, the people should be aware, for any type of power plant, you need basically some things. Some basic things are needed for the power plants. If you go anywhere in the world, you cannot establish, you cannot erect a power plant without this basic thing. That is, the first basic thing is that the land. We need land. So without land, you cannot do anything. Even if you say that you are going for offshore wind turbines, there also you have to make foundation in the land. Okay, that's somewhat exception for this case. So if you go for our traditional methods, the hydropower, you need 100% land with specialized favor for the construction of a dam, or availability of the water sources, plenty of water resources needed for the hydropower plant. Without land, a favorable land, without plenty of source of water, you cannot think about a hydropower plant. You cannot think about a hydropower plant. So there, the two basic necessities, that is water and land. If you go to the thermal plant, yes, there is an option, somewhat better option. So land constraint is important in the hydropower plant. So you have to go to the site which is favorable for construction, so which is remote to the cities. The thermal plant, yes, we are having option for the land, but the land is compulsory. But water, okay, somewhat less amount when compared to the hydropower plant. So that's good thing. Our traditional methods. So these two are, hydropower and thermal power, are basic things in the traditional methods. So if you come to the new methods, wind energy, the land is compulsory for the wind energy. See, you are thinking always, you have been thinking, you have been told, you have been injected in the minds that these powers are better than the traditional powers, these powers are better than the traditional powers. They have injected in our minds. They have promoted the positive side more than the negative side of these new type of powers. Yes, of course, the nuclear power we have stopped because we know how much damage it can do. A small mistake can take this hundreds of lives and spoil that place for hundreds of years and spoil the genes we have escaped narrowly for tens of generations. So you know that the side effect of that nuclear plant, and probably we have decreased the gas power and oil based power stations because of the cost. These people, opaque people, they are becoming richer day by day by supplying the oil and gas to the countries like China and India, which are developing, which are becoming emerging as superpowers. They have not become powers, but they are emerging as rich countries. So the 50% of our economy is, we are spending our 50% of money on importing the oil after the China. So that is a economical, that is a very big effect to the India for the growing country like India. The oil is very serious blow on the economical growth of India to become a superpower. So that's why we have left. We have not interested to go further, go on further more expansion of these thermal plants based on oil and gas. But we can go for hydro, mini and small size of hydropower plant. That still there is so much of potential in the hydro area. So, but we have left that. So, hydropower is best if you concern on the economical, environmental and economical areas. See, we have been always telling that these are better. So, how these are better than hydropower? How? So, always they are only focusing the coal-based plants. So, which is emitting so much of, flue gases daily, carbon emission, which is a greenhouse gas, which is affecting the ozone layer. We are getting the acid rains. They are unable to produce the agriculture properly because of this imbalance. Okay, that is good. But when you compare with the hydropower, how these are better than the hydropower? So that thing they will never talk about the hydropower while comparing with this renewable energy sources. They will never compare because they know that this will not match the hydropower. Regarding the economical things, hydropower is the cheapest thing. Hydropower is cleanest thing even today when you compare than the wind power, than the solar power. So that's why they will never highlight the hydropower. They will only compare with the thermal power versus renewable, thermal power versus wind energy, thermal power versus solar energy. So because the hydropower plants are constructed by the governments and wind and solar power plants are constructed by the private agents, private companies. It is outsourcing. So they want to emerge more. Still the hydropower potential is there. The government is not interested. Okay, that's a different case. Okay, right now we are comparing with the solar energy. Solar energy. So before that, wind energy. Wind energy, you need so much of land area than any traditional methods of producing the power. After this, if you come to the solar energy, you need much more land. Because in the total plant, if you leave the towers, only up to 5% of the land is utilized for installing the mills. Remaining land we can use as agricultural land as usual. But that option is not there here. So if you have installed a solar plant, you cannot use that land for any other purposes. Okay, good. The solar power is the emerging power. Solar power is emerging power. So basically there are two types here. So that is photovoltaic effect, photovoltaic cells producing the solar power based on the photovoltaic effect, and producing the power and generating the power based on the concentrated plate. So that is solar thermal energy. So again, in the solar thermal energy, you need the turbines. Okay. So for these things, you need more land than the other types of things. So more land is wasted here. More land is wasted than any other types of power generations here. Okay. So that is the habitat loss, water use. So for any land, you need, for any power stations, you need land. You need, yes, you are thinking that. So if I am going to the photovoltaic cell, where I am using the water. Okay, of course, if I am going for a solar thermal energy, I am using the water. If you are going to photovoltaic, where? We cannot see the usage of water there. So we will know where we are using it. So that is the thing. And we have to consider. So land and water are the basic things for construction of any type of solar plant. So we will see that. So today's we will see the dark side. Yes, there is positive side, but as not positive as the media, as the scientists have injected in our brains, as not as that much of beneficial as we are thinking up to now. So first thing is, as I told you, the land use. So if you are using, if you are installing a solar plant, so there is a degradation of land for the human beings, for the animals, for all these things. First thing is you have to better, if you go to the place where you don't find any trees, that is better. But you cannot normally, the thing is that it is not a hydro plant. You will not go to the very remote places because you think that you should be nearer to the cities. So both the people are doing like that, both cases, because of the cost of the land. The companies are going like that. So the negative here than the wind power is that, so there still you can use that land for the agriculture or other purpose or grazing like that. That facility is not there here. So even if you observe that how much you are able to produce for the amount of land, see that is if you go for photovoltaic cells. So 3.5 to 10 acres, you need 3.5 to 10 acres. Just imagine 3.5 to 10 acres without side usages like wind energy. So if you have installed a wind plant in the places, even in the agriculture places, yes, they will just leave that tower, and remaining place they will do their agriculture work. Here that is not the case. So 3.5 to 10 acres for megawatt. Somewhat more you need for concentrated solar power. That is 4 to 16.5 acres per megawatt. So this reveals the hollowness of this solar energy. This reveals the hollowness of the solar energy. Just imagine 3.5 to 10 acres per megawatt for PV and 4 to 16.5 acres for CSP. So how much land you need? Okay, even if you are not disturbing the farmer land, you are going to disturb the forest land. Where is the option? So there is so much of land wastage than any other type of power generations. So this is worst. This is the worst thing we can say with this solar power. And so that you can realize so how much land is wasted. Maybe it is farmers land, maybe it's government land, maybe it's forest land. Anyway, you are going to waste in the country like India where there is so much of population density. With so much of population density, the land is very precious thing. Okay, they are going for places where there is no objection. So cheap lands, but even then they are disturbing the animal inhabitations. Okay, so that is the first thing there, and so that's the thing is the same. So we cannot share with the agriculture uses. We cannot use this land for agriculture uses. So that is a big blow for this solar power. That's a big blow for the solar power. Next, if you go to the water usage, yes, we are using the water we are going for solar thermal plants, just similar to that of other thermal plants. So there we need so much of water there. And you are going for the photovoltaic, so you may not need the water after installation, but you need it during the process of making this photovoltaic cells. Yes, in the process of making the photovoltaic cells, you need water with no exception. So solar thermal energy, okay. That's thermal means it's coming. You are using the heating, or you are using some kind of energy to heat the water and to make it steam, and using the turbine. But in solar plant, you will not find such usage of water. But where we are using? We are using the water in the process of manufacturing. See the manufacturing. You are using silicon, quartage, just similar to that of computer making industry. That is silicon chip. This is silicon cell. that is silicon chip. This is silicon cell. That's all. So the same ingredients, same process, the same pollution. Now you are talking about the e-pollution. The e-pollution has become a very big issue nowadays. Computer, TV, cell phone. Everywhere you are using the silicon. There you are using the chips. Here, that is silicon chips. These are silicon cells. Yes, silicon. Maybe that is monocrystalline, polycrystalline. The technology is different. The technology is different. That's all here. The technology is, even the microprocessor, you are using the thin film technology. Here also you are using thin film technology. So the people has never thought, they were aware of the pollution created by these silicon chips or computers, laptops, TVs, cell phones. But the people are not aware of the same thing we are using to make a solar cell. The technology is varying, that's all. The ingredient is same. The process, the waste, the pollution from this process are the same, almost same. So that's the people should. This is the dark side of the sun, that is solar energy. So we'll see here. So you are using 600 to 650 gallons of water per megawatt hour of electricity production for the solar thermal energy. 600 to 650 gallons. Normally we will use that for oil. There, liquids we will use gallons. So, but we can, of course, we can decrease this amount of this huge amount of utilization of water with the dry cooling technology in the solar thermal power plants. Okay, even still, you need more water in a solar thermal plants. And next thing is that, what is the hazard? Yes, what is hazard? You people never think hazards. Solar plant. How come it is happening? Yes, it's happening. Yes, it's happening. The PV cell manufacturing process includes a number of hazardous materials. In this process, in the process of making a photovoltaic cell, it will release number of hazardous materials, mainly to clean and purify the semiconductor surface. Okay, same as that of computer chips. Silicon industry, silicon manufacturing industry. So, almost similar type of pollution. See, even the workers working there, if they are not attentive, they will exposed to the dangerous chemicals. Okay, these chemicals similar to those of the general semiconductor industry. So what are these? Hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrogen fluoride, trichloroethane, acetone. Have you listened? Acetone. Acetone is there in the cigarette. So these are released in this. We have to face these things with care. So now you might be knowing how dangerous it is. It is how pollution, how eco unfriendly, how eco and unfriendly it is to produce a solar power. So the industry which is making the PV cells is doing the same amount of negative impact on the environment as the semiconductor industry. So what are these? Hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. These acids generally we will use in the cleaning process. Sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrogen fluoride, trichloroethane, and acetone. So we are using this type of, we are dealing with this type of hazardous materials. Of course, we are going to release pollutants. That's common. Without officially, without knowing of the pollution board, unofficially, it's common. So the workers, the company has to take care about the workers, ensure that they will not be affected by these chemicals. So the thin film. So we have been always, nowadays the scientists are mostly discussing about the thin film technology in the PV cells. So this thin film technology is more dangerous. It is more toxic. It will release more toxic materials. It will contain more toxic materials than the traditional photovoltaic cells. So poly and monocrystalline. So they will these toxic materials are gallium arsenide and copper, indium, gallium, diselenide, copper, indium, gallium, diselenide. This is one of the toxic material. And cadmium telluride. This is another thing. So this is not, so now it's clear that the industry making the PV cells is no way protecting the environment if you compare with the wind power is somewhat better than this, and if you compare with the hydropower. So that's the thing. And in the life cycle, So you are releasing so many toxic materials or pollutants during the manufacturing process. After manufacturing, what you have to do? You have to transport. In the transportation process, you have to use the automobile. Again, it's again they are polluting. The installation process, again there is so much of destruction of the ecosystem. And maintenance, again you have to use some chemicals to clean the solar panels. And the last thing is dangerous thing, that is decomposition. Decomposition. You are using the silicon, you are using the plastic, you are using different dangerous metals. How you can decompose? This will not decompose easily. And you have to dismantle it. Yes, we are using precious metals there. So we have to decompose. We have to dismantle. It's a big issue. So first thing is installing the land. It's a big issue. More amount of land, less amount of power you are able to produce. Without sharing multi-purpose as agriculture as the wind. And during the generation for solar thermal, again you need water. Okay. During the manufacturing process, you need water. So much of pollution is released. After transportation, after that you have to material transport, again pollution. Installation, you have to clean the land. Again you are disturbing the ecosystem. Maintenance, you have to use chemicals to make it clean, the surface area clean. Yes, it's chemicals. Decomposition is a big issue because so much of plastic and other things are involved here. And dismantlement is a big issue. So most people think that 0.07 and 0.18 pounds of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt. So in that, so for kilowatt, not megawatt, for kilowatt. So 0.07 to 0.18 pounds is emitted carbon dioxide in this process for that's it. So that this is a world thing. The new reports are coming with more sad news. So more amount of carbon emission is there in this process. But anyway, it is better when compared with during the generation process when compared with the thermal energy. So heavy metals, you are using the precious metals here, using the process cadmium telluride. So we have to, we cannot just dispose this. We can reuse these things. Recycle is a big issue again. Okay. So recycling is a very issue, and sometimes we are using the very less amount of silver also we are using. Telluride, indium, these are rare metals. Still we are using. So we have to dismantle and use these metals. We have to recycle them, and it's a default necessity. So just we will see how we are using this materials for making a PV cells. Quartz mining, you have to do a quartz mining, and metallurgy After that, you have to metallurgy grade silicon. So you have to make it to the solar grade. So you have to make into, sometimes you get monocrystalline or multi silicon. And again we will go for a ribbon size. You have to make it as size. And mono silicon wafer, multi silicon wafers. So after that you have to make it into a cell. After that you have to make it into a module and you have to run into a power system. So that is manufacturing process that is going on. So it is similar to the computer chips. The photovoltaic cell is, the technology is different, but it is almost the material in the process, the pollution, chemicals, almost similar to a computer chip. So there is air pollution again there, and release of dangerous chemicals, wastage into the land, usage of hazardous materials, heavy metals. It's a pollution. So the new things are coming with more carbon dioxide generation in the process. So still we have to know what are the much more disadvantages of these solar cells. Okay, so I hope you have got some knowledge about the negative angle of the dark side, of the ugly side of the solar cells, the sun energy. And thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.